¿Qué onda? It's Naninator. Welcome to the complete RLCraft Bedrock Trinket Guide. In this video, you'll learn key facts about trinkets, how to craft every single one of them, where to find them, and which mobs drop them. So if you're only looking for a specific trinket or section, you can use the chapters in the description or the timestamps on the screen right now. And hey, even if you do skip around, I really appreciate a like and a sub. Alright, let's jump in. So, some quick notes before we dive into crafting. I'll cover some of the mobs that drop trinkets, but keep in mind there are others too. In the original RLCraft Andragora, trinkets are actually called baubles, so you might hear in conversations with other players that they use that name instead. You can also get every trinket in the overworld. There's actually no need to visit the Nether or the End. There's two main types of trinkets. There's the specialty items and the rings. You can equip 3 of each maximum for a total of 6. Kind of funny considering a Minecraft character basically has stubs for hands, yet somehow wears 3 rings. Trinkets can't be duplicated. For example, you can't wear 2 rings of regeneration, but different effects do stack. So if you wear a Ring of Regeneration and the Teddy of Comfort, which both give regen 1, you'll actually get regeneration 2, which is pretty cool. So let's start with the rings. The first 4 rings are iron, lapis, gold, and netherite. They're literally just components. They only require 4 of their respective materials to craft them, but they don't give any effect when equipped. Early game I sometimes hang on to a couple of them, but they're so cheap to make, except netherite, I usually just leave them behind. You can also find them as general loot from trial spawners, in structures, and dungeons. First, the Ring of Jump. It gives you, well, jump boost 2, letting you jump 100% higher. It's pretty nice mobility bonus, but honestly one of the less useful rings. Still, it does let you hop fences, so it's kind of handy for farms and exploring. To craft it, you'll need air essence, which you can buy from the wizard golem trader, get as a drop from Djinns, or level 5 trade from Harry the merchant orc or captain. Then we have Quickfinger, which gives you speed 1. It increases your speed by 20%. Why did they not call this a ring of speed? I have no idea, but it's like calling a sort of slashing stick. Anyhow, the ring is pretty good, especially since it gives or makes escaping dangerous mobs easier. Possibly, a possible level 5 trade from Harry, the orc, or the captain. Get used to it because we're gonna be hearing their names quite often. Then the Ring of Regeneration is easily one of the best trinkets. It has infinite passive healing with regen 1. It is a huge quality of life bonus, especially when you're dealing with annoying debuffs after getting hit. I always try to get one ASAP. You can get it as a drop from various bosses and the spirit warrior mobs. Health crystals and shards come from multiple sources needed to craft this, but bosses drop them the most consistently, I find. The Ring of Strength is amazing. It gives you strength 1, so you can drop enemies in fewer hits. It's always a plus. The tricky part is crafting it. You'll need a heavy core, which costs a netherite block and 4 power shards. That's pretty tough, but you can sometimes buy it from special traders for 24 gold coins, which is much better at a steal in my opinion, or find it as rare loot sometimes. The ring itself can also drop from spirit warriors, which is kind of insane. The Ring of Resistance is another top tier ring. It gives you resistance once. That's a flat 20% damage reduction. In this mod pack, this punishing, that's huge. Crafting it is rough. It also needs a heavy core plus a netherite ring. So that on plus of adding void steel ingots combined to, which are, by the way, made with combining 4 shadow stones and 1 power crystal. Like strength, this ring is also a possible spirit warrior drop. Then we have the last ring being the Dragon Slayer ring. It's one of the 3 legendary trinkets and the only ring in that category. You can only craft it, so using the 4 rings we just covered actually. You'd expect it to combine all their power, but instead it gives you strength 1, resistance 1, and health boost 5, which is still an incredible combo, making it one of the best endgame trinkets. That is all the rings available. Now onto the special item trinkets, or those on the left side of the GUI. The Teddy of Comfort is uncraftable and only shows up if you're playing on easy mode. So every time you spawn in that mode, it appears in your inventory. It gives you regeneration 1. It's simple but handy. The Cyclop Eye and it really should be called Cyclop Eye, is uncraftable, but drops from, you guessed it, the Cyclops. You can also find it as a rare dungeon loot. It's pretty useful because it grants blindness and darkness immunity, super helpful if you plan on exploring the deep dark especially. It's also a crafting component for 2 other trinkets. You can snack it as a level 5 trade from Harry, the Orc, or the Captain. The Feather Swiftness trinket is one of my personal favorites. It gives you speed 2 and slow falling 2, which basically makes you immune to fall damage. It's fairly cheap to make, and you can also get it as a drop from Peacocks. They're very easy targets, or some overworld bosses, but personally I wish it was called a Feather of Swiftness. Feather of Swiftness, that is. But hey, I didn't make the game, so... it is also available as a level 5 trade from Harry, the Orc, or the Captain. The Eternal Ice prevents hypothermia, meaning you won't take damage from extreme heat. It's a must-have for long nether trips since it's hot 24/7 in that dimension. You can find it as a rare dungeon spawner drop too. I usually keep one in my inventory or a shulker box just in case if I have one by that point. The ice essence comes from wizard golem traders too, random structured chests, or as a guaranteed as a level 3 wizard golem trade. The Eternal Ember does the opposite. It prevents hypothermia, keeping you safe from extreme cold damage. Unlike Java RLCraft, the end isn't cold here, so you probably won't need it as much here. Like the Eternal Ice, it can drop rarely from dungeon spawners. I usually carry one in my inventory or in a shulker box as well, just in case. You can get the fire essence from fireflies, wizard golem traders, or directly buy the trinket itself as a level 3 trade from the same wizard golem. The Mining Amulet gives you haste 1, which is plus 20% mining speed and plus 10 attack speed. I think it's undervalued. The hardest part of crafting it is that you need to find an echo shard, usually from ancient city loot chests. Although dwarves can also drop them as a rarely, the trinket is excellent early game, and you can even buy it as a guaranteed level 3 trade from the Cowboy NPC. The Withering Necklace gives you Wither Aspect 1, letting melee attacks inflict Wither for some bonus damage. It does not stack with the Wither Aspect on the sword called Slayer though. You can find it as a rare dungeon loot or from a Death Knight, as a rare drop by the way. Pro tip, you can get all the crafting components except the gold ingot by defeating a dead shogun, or multiple rather. The goat horns make you immune to mining fatigue. Super useful early game since you'll get the debuff constantly when taking damage. Crafting isn't bad, but hunting regular goats for horns can be really annoying. Honestly, it's much easier to go after a goat king since they can drop the trinket itself and spawn in so many places. Also available as a level 5 trade from Harry, the Orc, or the Captain. The Great Shield is one of the easiest trinkets to make. Just 6 planks of any type plus 25 iron ingots. It's excellent early game. It gives you health boost 1, which is plus 4 hearts, and complete knockback immunity. Not even netherite armor cancels knockback fully. Keep in mind this means all knockback is cancelled. By this, I am especially referring to the swords called Impulse or Air Thrill, as they lose their special launching effects, which do rely on knockback itself. Luckily, it does not affect the Elytra Flight. The shield can also drop early from dungeon spawners or bosses like Carrick. The Great Horn Shield is basically the Great Shield with goat horns glued on top. It looks pretty funny. It combines both effects, knockback immunity, mining fatigue immunity, and health boost 1. It can also drop from certain overworld mobs like Oracle, Froggy, and Delakug. The Antidote Vial makes you immune to poison. Not many mobs really inflict poison, but it's still a nice situational trinket. The components aren't too hard to find, as they do often appear in random overworld chests. It can also drop from the Spirit Warrior or be obtained as a guaranteed level 4 trade from the Witch Trader NPC. Not the vanilla one though. The Ancient Rune makes you immune to slowness. This is a lifesaver, since heavy or fall damage often gives you slowness, making retreating in combat way harder. It's incredibly cheap to make, making it one of the best early game baubles and a high priority pickup in my opinion. Rare drops come from Tree Spirits, and it's also a possible level 5 trade from Harry, the Orc, or the Captain again. The Blessed Water makes you immune to weather. It's niche, but all useful against certain dangerous mobs. Crafting is tricky since it needs 2 Divine Prophecies, which themselves are dropped by Divine Warriors. Luckily, the trinket itself can also drop rarely from vanilla skeletons or the Death Knight boss. If you really need this trinket, like for certain endgame crafts, farming skeletons is probably the fastest route, and odds are you'll find one passively over a full playthrough anyways. The Shulker Anchor is honestly one of the least useful trinkets. It just makes you immune to levitation, which only a very select few mobs like Shulkers even inflicted. Despite requiring Shulker shells, you can sometimes find them in the random structure chests. The anchor itself occasionally spawns as dungeon loot or as level 5 trait from Harry, Orc, or the Captain too. The Dragon Eye is an amazing exploration trinket and for visiting the Nether, as it grants you fire immunity, darkness immunity, and night vision. The recipe is expensive, requiring a Cyclop Eye and Void Steel ingots, but it's worth it. It can also drop from Carrick. Too bad it doesn't protect against overheating like the Java version of RLCraft. The Panacea is one of the 3 legendary trinkets, and one of the best in the game. It grants immunity to blindness, slowness, poison, wither, mining fatigue, and levitation. Its name actually comes from the Greek goddess Panacea, a symbol of remedy for all diseases. Crafting it is brutal though. It requires a Cyclop Eye, Power Crystal, Antidote Vial, Blessed Water, Dragon Skull Fragment, which is itself a rare dungeon loot or dragon drop, the Ancient Root, a Shulker Anchor, and a Divine Prophecy. Oh, and Goat Horns. Basically, it's a purple jello cube made out of every trinket imaginable. Then, the last and golden trinket is the Dragon Slayer Coat. It's the ultimate protection, the final legendary of the set of 3. Think of it as Panacea stuffed inside a wool coat. Literally, since wool is part of the recipe, and you put Panacea inside it too. It grants all the immunities of Panacea, plus immunity to fire, explosions, and knockback. This is the only trinket in the game that makes you completely invincible to explosions, which is kind of insane. The only downside is that it overlaps a little bit with the Dragon Eye in terms of utility. Then we go into the trinket mobs. Some of the most notable ones that drop trinkets are here. Note these are not all of them, but some of the most notable at least. First, the skeleton. That's right, the plain old vanilla skeleton drops one of the hardest to make trinkets, the Blessed Water. Kind of crazy, right? Still, it's a rare drop. You'll probably get one naturally since skeletons spawn literally anywhere dark. But if you want to farm them, head to a Soul Sand Valley in the Nether. They spawn much more frequently there since other mobs lower their spawn chance in the overworld. Dwarves are probably one of the most common mobs you'll encounter to the point of annoyance. They spawn constantly from dungeon spawners and structures. They're usually hostile and in groups, so they'll swarm you quickly. Not the strongest enemies, but super annoying early on. They come in multiple variants, crossbows, pickaxes, melee weapons, and rarely drop the Mining Amulets. Since you'll run into tons of them while exploring, odds are you'll end up with several amulets. Also a decent source of coins though. Goat King is a very common mob across most biomes. They're bulky and hit pretty hard, especially dangerous in the early game. They have a low chance to drop the Goat Horns trinket, so they're worth hunting early. Just watch out for their charging attack. The Peacock is neutral, won't attack unless provoked, but it has a chance to drop one of my favorite trinkets, the Feather Swiftness. Early game, I always go after these birds because they're very easy prey. Just tower up like an iron golem and whack them down. They spawn in multiple biomes including plains, savannas, and jungles. This tree spirit is a very tanky giant that protects nature. Very slow, but regenerates health, so don't fight it without a decent weapon. Its punches and AoE attack punch a serious punch. You'll usually hear its stomping footsteps before you see it. It has a small chance to drop the Ancient Root, but since that trinket is so easy to craft, it's really not worth going out of your way unless you're feeling confident. The Cyclops is a massive, slow-moving brute with a long reach thanks to its giant club. They drop the, you guessed it, Cyclop Eye again, which is needed for both the Dragon Eye and Panacea trinkets, so you'll probably need to kill one eventually if you don't get pretty unlucky finding one in loot. My strategy to beat them is to grab speed 1 or 2, kite them, and then punish them for the swings. Make sure you time your attacks correctly, because otherwise you'll turn into smashed potatoes. Also, for some reason, just like your average Fortnite player, when they kill you, they'll emote on your corpse. Knights, specifically the banner variant, have a very low chance to drop the Great Shield, which they are actually equipped with too. They usually spawn in a large group, and I wouldn't really go out of my way to get this trinket from them given how easy it is to craft it. And like dwarves are common enemies from trial spawners in various structures and can quickly swarm you too. The dungeon spawners are literally everywhere! Nearly every structure has them. Once you clear all the mobs, the spawner releases loot. Usually it's coins, bandages, or health pots, but sometimes you'll get a rare trinket like Eternal Ember, Eternal Eyes, the Mining Amulet, or Great Shield. Do not ignore these. Even once you're experienced in blasting through dungeons, they're very easy to miss, but totally worth it. The Spirit Warrior is hands down my favorite mob in the entire add-on, even more than most bosses. This guy is famous for having some of the most busted drops in the game, like the Strength Ring, the Resistance Ring, the Ring of Jump, and the Antidote Vial. They're neutral, so you can prepare before engaging. Their best drops are rare, but they spawn frequently in savannas and deserts, so either explore those or settle down there for farming them. Personally, I just call them Ring Dude or Blue Axe Guy. The Reaper is a large imposing monster that spawns in pumpkin patches and camouflages with them during the daytime. They awaken from their slumber if you're too close or night falls. They have a large attack range and do lots of damage with each swing from their scythe, so players beware. Sometimes when they defeat a player, they will do a little dance too. They have a small chance to drop the Withering Necklace and have some nice other drops such as health and power crystals. The Yeti are bulky, white, and only spawn in cold or frozen biomes. They don't hit very hard and it is easy to escape from them, but you may be interested to know they drop the useful Eternal Ice. As I mentioned before, this is great for the nether and exploring hot biomes. I like to get one or hunt for them when I'm going for Divine Warriors myself. Bosses spawn absolutely everywhere, each tied to specific biomes. Some are exclusive to Sky Spires though. You'll know one's nearby when their boss bar pops up on your screen. Really dead giveaway if you ask me. They're always worth fighting, guaranteed at least one solid trinket, plus drops like Totems of Undying, Power Shards, Health Shards, and more. Dangerous though, so be cautious. In my experience, Carrick, the giant spider boss that can have a chance to spawn in Sky Spires, has the best loot in the game. So what's the endgame goal? To feel like a true king, the legendary trinkets are where it's at. The Panacea and Dragon Slayer coat are basically upgrades of one another, so by the end, I'd aim for the Dragon Slayer coat, the Great Horn Shield, and either the Teddy of Comfort if you don't care about going into easy mode even for just a second, or interchangeably the Feather of Swiftness. If your adventure takes you through extreme temperatures, swap those out for the Eternal Ember or Eternal Eyes instead. For the rings, the best lineup is the Dragon Slayer ring, the Ring of Resistance, and the Ring of Regeneration. You can swap it out with a Ring of Speed if you prefer, however. That wraps up this guide. Thanks a ton for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Got more guide ideas or think I'm missing something? Drop a comment below. Ahí los guacho vatos.